Hello everybody, welcome to Ceefashion Academy online course. As you can see, we are going to be teaching from our book, The Perfect Dress Cutting Guide. So today we are going to be working on a trouser, male and female trouser. So you can see this is coming from the chapter 11 of our book. So look at it, we are going to be cutting a male and female trouser. So before we properly start cutting, we have to look at some things concerning about this male and female trousers. As you can see, these are the required materials which we are going to use here. 2 yards of material, 1 yard of suit lining, 1 short trouser zip, thread, a sewing machine, and the rest. So these are actually what we are going to be using. Are you seeing it? Okay. So this is the required measurement. So we are going to be working with the circumference of the waist, circumference of the thigh, hip length, round hip, crotch length, round crotch, that is knee length, round knee, full length. Okay, so now let's talk on the similarities and differences of male and female trouser. As you can see, there is not much difference between a male and a female trouser. It's just the position of the front zipper. Now, for female trouser, the overlapping comes from the right, while for male trouser, the overlapping comes from the left. Now, look at it here. Are you seeing it? This is the female. The overlapping is coming from the right, and the male, the overlapping is coming from the left. That is the zipper overlap, as you can see. Now, look at it. Okay, another difference, which is not that too necessary, is the shape. The shape of the trouser. A female trouser is more curvy, while a male trouser is the opposite, is not that curvy. From the hip to the waist is straight. So let's start drafting. The first thing you're going to do in order for you to draft a trouser, whether male and a female, is to fold. Now, as we are going to be folding, the thigh is 22. Now, look at what we are doing. 22 divided by 2 is going to give us 11. So we are going to be folding with 11 as the weight. Do you understand? We are going to be folding with two things, the weight and the length. So let's start with the weight. The weight is the thigh circumference, which is 22, divided by 2, which is 11. That is 11 we are marking out. Are you seeing it? So when we are done marking it out, we are now going to fold it into 2. Okay, so that is actually what we are going to be doing now. Are you seeing it? Okay, so let's do that. Let's mark out 11 inches. Remember what I said, you are going to be considering the weight, which is what we are doing, and the length, which is the trouser length plus the allowance. So let's first consider the weight, which is exactly what we are doing. So after we are done marking the straight line, we are actually going to fold it. Look at what we are doing now. Are you seeing it? Fold it and make sure that it is balanced. Okay, so the next thing we are going to be doing, we're going to be considering the length of the trouser. Now, the length of the trouser is 37 inches. Now, add 2 inches for hemming extra, making it 39 inches. So that means we are going to be folding out 39 inches by length. So let's take our tape and measure out 29 inches by length. As you can see, the total of the paper is actually 40, and we are marking out 39 inches. So place it again to mark out 39 inches. Why are we doing this? We are doing it to get a straight line with our rule. So let's do it now. As you can see, we have gotten a straight line. Okay, and now after we are done doing this, next thing you need to do is to take your scissors and cut it off immediately. Look at it. So we have now prepared the material or the pattern paper for the front part of the trouser. Please, when we are done with the front, we are also going to prepare for the back. Okay, so now we have the front part. Are you seeing it? Okay, so the weight is 11 inches. Let me repeat it again. 22 divided by 2 is going to give you 11 inches. That is the weight. Are you seeing it? Okay, so the length, as we all know, which is 37 plus 2, which is going to give you 39. That's actually what we used. Are you seeing it? So we have it here. This is what we used to fold for the front part of the trouser. So next thing we are going to be doing now is we are going to be marking out the measurement point. That is the vertical measurement. So as you can see on the paper which I'm holding there, we have the hip length. Are you seeing? We have the crotch length. Then we have the knee length, and we have the full trouser length. So the hip length is actually from waist to hip. The crotch length is from waist to the crotch length. The same thing goes to the knee and the trouser length. Now let's mark out for the hip length. As you can see, the hip length is 9 inches. So we're making it out into 2 in order to get a straight line. Okay, we do the same thing to the crotch length. Let's mark it out. Crotch length is actually 11 inches. Are you seeing it? So mark it out double in order to get a straight line. So let me give you a quick tip. You can actually add extra 2 inches to your hip length in order to get your crotch length. Okay, so let's get to the knee. Knee is 21, so you have to mark it out into 2 in order to get a straight line. You do exactly the same thing to the length of the trouser, which is 37 inches. So let's mark it out, 37 inches. After that, add extra 2 inches, which is the end of the pattern paper. Do the same thing here in order to get a straight line. 37 plus 2. Okay, so now when you are done, next thing you're actually going to be doing now is to use your rule and connect in order to get a horizontal line. As you can see, this is what we are going to be doing now to get a horizontal line. Okay, so next thing, after you're done doing this, there's another thing we are going to be doing. As you guys can see, I'm labeling it. This is the hip length, this is the crotch length. Okay, now the next is the knee length, while this other one is the trouser length plus hemming allowance. Please, I want you to know that this is actually coming from our book, The Perfect Dress Cutting Guide. If you have not gotten yours, make sure you get it. So next thing we are going to be doing is what we call the ghetto line or the traveler's crease. So I'm going to be using this finished trouser to show you. As you can see, that sharp edge you're seeing is what we call the traveler's crease or the ghetto line. That is what we are going to be marking out now. We call it the ghetto line. It helps us, it guides us to get our trouser perfectly. Okay, so in order to get it on this pattern paper, all you are going to be doing, remember our tie was 22 inches. We divided it by 2 and we got 11 inches, as you guys can see. So we are going to be dividing this 11 by 2 also. It's going to give us 5.5 inches. Now that means since from the beginning here to here is 11 inches, so we have to divide it into 2 and we're going to do it all the way down. Do you understand? Divide it into 2, which is 5.5. We are going to do it all the way down. So when we are done doing this, the next thing we are going to be doing is to take our rule and draw a straight line. Just take your time, do it right, and you get a perfect work. Most people complain that their work doesn't usually come out in a nice way, and I usually tell them it's from the way you cut. Whatever you measure will affect your cutting and also will affect your sewing. Then the final product will be affected, whether positively or negatively. So you guys can see we are done with the traveler's crease or ghetto line. Okay, next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be forming the crotch, and we are going to be doing that using what we call the hip method. The hip method is whatever the hip is. Since the hip is 36 divided by 4, which is going to be giving us 9 inches, we are going to be marking out the hip measurement. Now the hip circumference, we are going to be marking it out now, which is 9 inches. After we are done marking out this 9 inches, okay, do the same thing at the waist level, mark out 9 inches. Then after you are done doing that, take your rule and connect in order to form a straight line. Now forming this straight line means, are you seeing it? We are starting from the crotch length. Now it means from this other side to this other side is for the hip, while the remaining one here, are you seeing it? This is the crotch itself. So let's form the crotch curve. In order to form it, place your tape diagonally and mark out 1 inch. Are you seeing it? Mark out 1 inch. This is what we use in forming the curve. Now from the midpoint of this line, now look at it. Are you seeing we have 11 from the midpoint, which is 5.5? Now trace your curve and connect in order to form the crotch curve. Okay, so you guys can see, making a trouser is not hard at all. It's very, very easy. Okay, this is a very, very simple method. So the next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be imputing the circumference of the knee and the circumference of the ankle. So the circumference of the knee, which is actually 15 inches, divided by 4, which is going to give us 3.75. That is 3/3 inches. Okay, so we are going to place our tape from the middle part. Are you seeing it? From that middle point and mark out 3.75 inches. Are you seeing it? Place it at the middle also and mark on the other side. Now the same thing we are still going to be doing at the ankle. Are you seeing it? Okay, so the ankle, which the ankle circumference is 14 inches divided by 4, which is going to be giving you 3.5 inches. So what you are going to be doing now is the 3.5 place at the middle, mark out 3.5 on the other side, do the same thing, mark out 3.5 on the other side. Now we've gotten all these points. Next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be connecting them. Are you seeing the points? Okay, now look at the points, all these points, we are going to be connecting them with a rule. Now let's do that. Please, I want you to know that what we're actually doing now is a pencil trouser. And I want you to know that pencil trouser, the circumference of the knee is usually wider than the circumference of the ankle. Okay. Are you saying it? Circumference of the knee is bigger than the circumference of the ankle. That makes it a pencil trouser. But I'm going to be using this medium to explain other types of trousers for us. Do you understand? Now, for a straight cut trouser, the circumference of the knee and the circumference of the ankle are equal. Now let's talk about boot cut. The boot cut, the circumference of the ankle is bigger than the circumference of the knee. Are you seeing it? This is how it is connected. Okay. Then the final thing we are going to be talking about now is the palazzo. You might be surprised that palazzo is the easiest to cut. Now, originally, palazzo is just directly from the thigh. Are you seeing it? Down. From the thigh down. Yes, we are not going to be covering all these things from the thigh down. Please, I'm still going to explain all this in details now. Are you seeing it? We have palazzo, we have boot cut, we have straight cut, and we have pencil. Like I said, what we've just drafted now is pencil. That is why I marked good. So let's talk about straight cut. Remember what I said about straight cut? The circumference of the knee is the same as the circumference of the ankle. So what we are going to be doing now is, since the circumference of the knee is 15, we are also going to be using 15 as the circumference of the ankle. So I'll be showing you, I'll be using another color of marker to identify it. Are you seeing it? Okay, we've marked it. So let's mark the same thing at the ankle. Now look at it. It's going to be wider. Are you seeing it? Okay, because we're using exactly the same thing on the knee. And after we are done doing this, we're going to be using the green marker in order to identify it. That signifies a straight cut trouser. Okay, so you use your rule and they connect. So look at it, guys. Okay. Most people usually want straight cut trouser. Also in Nigeria, most people want palazzo trouser. Are you seeing it? So what we are seeing on the green marker is a straight cut trouser. It's very simple. So let's talk about boot cut. Boot cut. In Nigeria, we call it fela because that is the kind of trouser the legends usually wear. Okay, so let's talk about the boot cut trouser. I don't know what others call it, but whatever you know they refer it to, just let me know. Okay, so now look at it. If you have finished drafting, now look at it. Just connect from the knee to where the edge ends at the ankle. Are you seeing it? So this means that the circumference of the ankle is wider than the circumference of the knee. It's as simple as ABC. Are you seeing where the red marker is going? This actually gives you a boot cut. A boot cut is like a trouser that is having flay at the ankle. Are you seeing it? Okay, so just use the same thing that is at your thigh at the ankle, and that gives you a boot cut. So let's talk about the palazzo. This is the last we are going to talk about before we start drafting the back. So palazzo is not hard. Palazzo, you don't need to do all this knee, all this ankle. All you need to do, in the moment you are done drafting the crotch, just take it down. That is it. You don't even need to draft anything. Are you seeing it? Take it down. It's that big. Yes, it's that big. Palazzo is just the measurement of the thigh is the same thing as the measurement of the knee, is the same thing as the measurement of the ankle. So let me physically show you guys what I mean by using a marker to connect. Are you seeing it? It's just at the same edge I'm marking it. Look at it. Just at the same edge I'm marking it. Okay, you do the same thing on the other side. Are you seeing it? That is what a palazzo trouser represents. Even though these days people used to mix it in order to, they don't usually want their own to be that big, so they reduce something from the knee. Okay, so if you need more explanations on that, please make sure you contact me for that. Okay, guys, let's talk about the waist. Remember, when it comes to men trouser, we don't usually like to effect the waist shape. Do you understand? Usually straight like this. Are you seeing it? From the hip, we take it straight to the waist. Are you seeing it? Take it straight to the waist. But talking about the female, look at the image we have there. There is always a curve. Now look at men on straight. Are you seeing it? Now look at the female on. There is a curve. So that means we usually effect the waist measurement as we are drafting. Look at the shape I'm using there. Are you seeing it? Okay. So how are we going to get it? Now let me show you guys how we are going to get it now. Please, if you've not subscribed to our original channel at Ceefashion Academy, do make sure you go and subscribe. Are you seeing it? Measure from there 8 inches. Why are we using 8 inches? Because the waist circumference is 32. Are you seeing it? Measure from here, then down to that point 8. Then add extra half inch. Half inch or 1 inch. Please, this half inch or 1 inch is for the that or any other thing. Okay, as you can see from the hip length, step up with 2 inches. Please, this is to make sure that the shape there is not too sharp. Do you understand? Okay, so then when you are done, next thing you are going to do is take your rule and they connect in order to form the shape. Are you seeing it? Okay, okay. So that is it. So next thing we are going to be doing now is we are going to be effecting what we call the waist effect. You guys know that on a normal trouser, the front waist isn't supposed to be straight. It's supposed to come down. So look at it, come down by 1 inch. That is professionally how we do it. Are you seeing it? So when you come down with that, next thing you're going to do, use your rule and connect it to the other part of the edge. Just connect it like this. Are you seeing it? Okay. And we are 100% done for the front. So we are supposed to cut this side, but for now, let's not cut it because we are going to be cutting it when we are done cutting the back side. Okay, just take your scissors and trace it out. I think that's the next thing we are going to be doing now. Take your scissors and trace it out. It's not going to be hard. Just do it. So we are going to be using the straight cut now. Remember, I formerly drafted this for a pencil, but I just changed my mind. We are going to be cutting out the straight cut because I noticed that most people love to sew straight cut for their clients. Okay, so even if you want to sew pencil, I think you've already seen how to cut a pencil trouser. So this is what we are going to do now. Are you seeing it? That place mustn't be too sharp. Do you understand? The 2 points mustn't be too sharp. So you have to cut it in a very nice way. Okay, so look at the crotch area. You are also going to be cutting it out. But first of all, let's shape this side out. Are you seeing it? From the waist. Okay, then cut it out and make sure you open the closed side. Okay, looking at the shape of that place, you see how fine and how beautiful it is. Okay, now let's get to the crotch part. Just the same way you cut others, make sure you cut this side using the same strategy. Okay guys, next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to be cutting the back. Do you understand? We are going to be cutting the back. Please, we are also going to be folding our material the same way we folded for the front, but not with the same measurement, guys. For the back, when you're folding your material, you seeing it? The weight is supposed to be the previous weight we used plus 3 inches. Please, this 3 inches is not fixed. It's dependent on the tie we are working on. Are you seeing it? Now, this one is 11 plus 3. Are you seeing it? 11 plus 3 is going to give us 14. Now, the weight we folded here is 14. Are you seeing it? Remember what I said? The 3 inches used there is not fixed. It's dependent on the tie. Are you seeing it? What we have here is how many? 14. Now, I'm also going to show you guys a chart. Okay. Now, you see these 3 inches, like I said, is not fixed. It's dependent on the tie. So, I'm going to be showing you guys a chart showing different tie and what you're going to use for the back. Now, look at it, guys. Let me zoom it. I think I need to zoom it for you guys to see. Okay, now look at it. From 18 to 25, a tie is 3 inches. For a tie of 26 to 28 is 3 inches. 29 to 32 is 3.5, and 33 to 36 is 4 inches. Are you seeing it? But our own is in that 18 to 25. Are you seeing it? Because we have a tie of 22 inches. Are you seeing it? This is very important. So if you don't have this video, we are not going to have this. Okay. So, talking about the length is going to be, remember the previous length was 39 inches, that is 37 inches plus extra 2 hemming. Do you understand? But for the sake of this particular bag, it's going to be 40 inches. That is 39 plus extra one, which is going to be 40 inches. Okay, this extra one, remember for the front side, we did a waist effect stepping down. For the back, we are going to step up with 1 inch. That's why this 1 inch is included in the length. Okay, so next thing you are going to do, we are going to be placing it. Are you saying it? It is not hard to place. Look at the 1 inch there. Are you seeing it? Okay. Place it in a way that it is equal at the down part and the 1 inch is remaining at the upper part. And make sure the other side of the trouser is lapping correctly. Okay. Now, looking at the thigh side, you see that something is remaining at the back. And that which is remaining is approximately 3 inches. Remember how we got the 3 inches, guys? Okay. Please, if you have any question, do make sure you ask. Just ask, I will answer. Remember, this is an online course. It means that you actually paid for it. So make sure you ask if you're confused anyway. I did this course so as you guys to be happy. I want you guys to be happy. Okay, guys. So next thing you're going to be doing is take your rule and connect all the lines. Do you understand? So that you are going to be seeing it at the back fabric or the back pattern paper. Are you seeing it? Okay. So let's focus on the tie. Now look, what we have here is actually 3 inches at the thigh. 3 inches extra. Are you seeing it? Okay. Now let me use my tape and show you guys. Now look at it. 3 inches extra. Remember why mine is 3 inches is because I'm working on a thigh of 22. So next thing you are going to be doing is from the waist. Are you seeing it? Mark out 2 inches. 2 inches is average. It is standard. Are you seeing it? Okay. Then connect it to this point. Are you seeing it? To the thigh? Yes, connect it. Okay. Why are we doing this? Because we want to get a crotch for the back. So now the same thing we did at the front, diagonally place 1.5 this time around. Remember the front was 1 inch. Now the back is going to be 1.5. This is because this is the back. Okay, so after you are done doing that, the same thing we did at the front. Are you seeing it? We have 12, then the midpoint is 6. Then make sure you use it to connect your curve. Okay, guys, make sure you use it to connect your curve. Then after you are done doing that, please, this curve, you are also going to step down with 1/2 inch. You are going to step down with 1/2 inch to 1 inch. This is dependent on the person's size. But for the sake of this tutorial, I would advise you to use 1/2 inch. I'm going to also show you the reason why we are using this method. Why we did not just stop at the point we marked our line. Okay, are you seeing it? Okay, so since this place is 3 inches, what it means is that as we are getting down, now look at it, the midpoint of this point, we are going to be using 2.5. Remember the thigh side was 3 inches, so we are descending. Now here is 2 inches, then take 2 inches down. This is how it works. Do you understand? Take 2 inches down. Okay, guys. Now use your rule and they connect in order to get a very sharp and straight line. Okay, so as you guys can see, we're almost done. We are almost done. So looking at this now, I want you guys to look at the waist side. Remember, we stepped down with 1 inch in front. Remember, I said at the back, we are going to step up with 1 inch. Again, this is to make sure that the waist laps very well. The fitting of the waist comes out. Please, the only time you are not going to be doing these things is when you are working on a high waist trouser. Please, I want you to know, a high waist trouser. Are you seeing it? We just connected it to the other edge. Look at it. Just do exactly what I've done here and you will not complain. You are not going to have any problem. Are you seeing it? So I think the next thing we are going to be doing now is to take our scissors and they cut it off. So we are almost done, guys. We're almost done, guys. So I want you to make sure you restudy this video, study it every time, just to make sure you perfect in it. Please, I don't want you to be those that skip. Now you looking at it now, the front part, we are not going to be cutting it. This is to avoid confusion. That's why I did not cut it out immediately I finished cutting the front. Okay, so that is it, guys. I thank you very much. Now remember I told you guys when we are drafting the back part, that side part, I stepped down with 1/2. This is the reason why I stepped down. I stepped down so as to make sure that as I'll be folding the back so that it will be meeting the front like this, so that I made sure that this side will match. Are you seeing it? Both of them match. Sometimes have you noticed when you finish cutting a trouser, both of them will not match? This is because you did not step down. Sometimes luckily it matches for you, but you did not even know why. Now in a situation whereby it did not match and this one is longer, this is what you do. Get the point and cut it off. Do you understand? Please, they must be equal. Are you seeing it? If assuming it's like this, it didn't match. Now cut it off, please. That is what you're going to be doing now. Okay, the final thing I'm going to be showing us how to do is the darts. In order for you to get the dart, especially for the back part, for me, I don't usually put that in front, but if you must put in front, you can put. Are you seeing it? At the ghetto line, wherever the ghetto line is corresponding, trace it to the back. That is where the dart is supposed to be. So mark it out as I've done now. Take your rule and thank you. Now your dart length normally should be 2 inches above the hip length. That is 7 inches. But for the sake of this particular, are you seeing it? Look at it. It's 7 inches. But the sake of this particular tutorial, I'm going to be using 6 inches. Then we are going to construct your dart. Are you seeing it from here? Half inch. Then to the other side, half inch. That is our dart is total of 1 inch. Please, I also want you to know that this is not fixed also. There is a shape you'll be working on. Your dart is not going to be 1 inch. It might even be 1.5 or 2 inches. So if you encounter any shape like that is confusing you, make sure you contact me. Please, I am the teacher. Make sure you contact me. As you guys can see, I'm tracing the dart at the back part. Okay, this is how we trace it. But first of all, take your scissors and notch so that this notch will also come out at the back part. Then all you have to do is to duplicate your dart and mark it out. So as you guys can see, we are done. We are done and we are 100% done. So next thing we are going to be doing now is we are going to be using this pattern paper, tracing them, and they use it and make a trouser. I don't know the kind of trouser I'm going to be making, whether the one with a pocket, but you guys are going to watch it surely. So remember, this knowledge came from our book, The Perfect Dress Cutting Guide. If you've not gotten your own, it has 17 chapters. Do you understand? And 17 chapters is 17 topics. Please do well to get your own. It has a lot of knowledge in it. Do you understand? I know since this is online, most of us have this by topic cause please, if you get this book as a whole, that'll be very, very nice for you. Do you understand? It is not costly. Just make sure you get your own. Thanks and may God bless you. Watch out for the sewing parts. I love you guys. I love you. Seriously. This tutorial was made for you to be very, very happy. So you guys can see the table of contents. I have a lot of topics in there. It took me years to make this course so that you guys will, things, so that everything about cutting will be very easy for you guys. Enjoy. Thanks and may God bless you. I love you. Make sure you like the video,